Hi there, welcome back to Save with Crypto. My name is Save with Crypto, and I'm sitting here on my balcony in Spain with my brother-in-law, who just informed me today that the Bank of England are going to reduce, suspected to reduce interest rates to 4% from 4.25%, which apparently is its fifth cut since last August, taking it to the lowest since March 2023. So I'm just going to ask Grok how this might affect risk on assets like Bitcoin. So let's try that. So I'm going to go ask. Hi there. I believe today the Bank of England are going to reduce interest rates from 4% to 4% from 4.25%, which is the which is obviously good for that. But how will that affect risk on assets like Bitcoin?
Lowering interest rates from 4.25% to 4% typically makes borrowing cheaper and encourages spending, which can boost demand for riskier assets like Bitcoin. More liquidity in the economy often leads investors to seek higher returns in things like crypto, as the opportunity cost of holding non-yielding assets drops.
That's interesting. Okay, so I believe the figures come out before the New York market opens. So what would you suspect might happen with the price of Bitcoin?
If the Bank of England cuts rates, as you mentioned, and the news hits before the New York market opens, Bitcoin could see a short-term boost as investors chase riskier assets due to cheaper borrowing. But markets might already expect this cut, so the price could stay stable or dip if traders sell the news, especially after recent volatility. Hard to say exactly. Bitcoin's been unpredictable lately.
Can you have a quick look on Twitter and tell me what the general sentiment is today?
I'm sorry, but I don't have access to enough recent data from X to give you a clear picture of today's general sentiment. From what I can see, there's some chatter about Bitcoin, with mixed vibes. Some users are cautious, others see greed creeping in, but it's too fragmented to pin down a broad mood.
Well, okay, let's take a look at the chart anyway. So this is the kind of double bottom type scenario I drew in yesterday. And, so far that's kind of playing out, isn't it, I suppose? We are getting kind of higher lows, which is always good news. And I suppose, we're sort of getting higher highs as well. So let's just pop on Quadzilla and see what that is telling us. So it looks like at the moment we're, just stuck in a range once again. Quadzilla did call this top rather well last night at about 8 o'clock European time. That was pretty good, wasn't it? So we got up to, what was that, 115, 600, that kind of level there, and then dropped down a little bit afterwards. Didn't drop down massively, and consequently the yellow 21 EMA stayed above the green 55 EMA. So it's still looking bullish to me, so I think we should probably see a little bit more price action in the next few hours, which would make sense bearing in mind what the Grok lady was talking about with the Bank of England interest rate. If you are trading Ethereum, do keep an eye out as well, because at the moment this convergence band here is getting above the 80% mark here. So that's normally when you start to see a turnaround, so if you see something like a red background like this or like that on Quadzilla, then you'll have a pretty good idea that the price might sort of pull back a little bit before going back up again. So I think Ethereum could easily top out temporarily at about sort of 3,750, something like that, which I will be prepared for. And I'm not going to short, but I might consider longing if the price comes back a reasonable amount. Certainly if it comes back so enough to give a green background like what we have here. But generally I think the market's looking good. Now I've got a personal interest in SUI as well, because SUI is a position I've been trading on Bitunix, and I've been underwater for about a week now, which has been a bit rubbish. At the moment I'm pretty much back at break even, and I'm just $5 down at the moment. So I'm considering closing this trade and then trading something else, because I'm just not very good at trading altcoins, to be honest. So I'll have a look at that in a moment. Let's just have a quick look at the chart for SUI, because I know damn well if I close the trade then the price will probably shoot up loads. It's actually not looking bad though, is it? If you look at this, you can see that the price came down a hell of a lot here. And by the way, look how good that retracement level worked there. So the price was going up, the retracement level appeared, and it retraced perfectly to there, did a little bounce and then came down a lot more. Brilliant. That's one of the major features of Quadzilla version 1.1, so please do get that if you haven't got it already by going to savewithcrypto.org/QZ. But yeah, what we've seen is the price come down here to a double bottom, and it looks like the price could go back up. Now, I must admit the 1 hour time frame isn't giving me much of a clue really, because these EMAs, the yellow and green ones, are kind of just swapping back and forth. So when that happens, I tend to go to like a larger time frame, something like the 2 hour, for example. And this might give me more of a clue of what's happening, because you can see here that the yellow is still below the green. That's the 21 EMA below the 55 EMA. Now, if those two cross, that should be really nice for seeing a pump up. And even better, we are now getting the green shaded area, which shows that there's a high probability of these two crossing. Now, that candle there closes in 29 minutes, which will be midday here in Spain. So once again, this could coincide quite nicely with a small pump in Bitcoin before the New York Open. So I think it's in my interest to get this video out as soon as possible, i.e. right now. And I would suggest that you look at something like SUI on the 2 hour time frame, look for that convergence there. And in actual fact, if you're looking at Bitcoin on the 2 hour time frame as well, you will see that these EMAs have actually just crossed here. So to me, everything's looking pretty bullish, I reckon. So I think we should see some green prices this afternoon and hopefully continuing on during the day. If you like the sound of that, please go and get Quadzilla. Quadzilla is a indicator that we've developed for TradingView, and it is an invite-only script. At the moment, you can get it for free. I can't promise that that will be always the case. So if you get it now, you will have access for life. Okay, and we've already got all these people here who are using it at the moment for free, which is fantastic. And I would love to add you here if you're not using it already. So just go to savewithcrypto.org/QZ. If you like the sound of that, please give the video a great big fat like. Any questions, leave them in the comments down below. While you're down there, please make sure that you are subscribed and you've got a notification set on all. Most of all, remember to give the video a great big fat like, and above all, tell your friends.
Save with Crypto has to be one of the best YouTube channels that the United States has ever seen. Kamala Harris is not a subscriber, but I am. I have notifications set to all as well. I'd strongly suggest you subscribe to Save with Crypto today. Above all, you should tell your friends.
Save with Crypto is not a financial advisor. He just makes ice cream on the internet. If you cannot find someone to do your own research, you must do it yourself, just like I did not.